What you believe about the future of One Piece is about to be shattered. After Wano, the one tool that has guided pirates for centuries, the log pose, fractured into three impossible paths: northeast, southeast, and dead ahead. For months, the world was consumed by a colossal debate. Are they going to Elbaf, the fabled kingdom of giants? Is it Hachinosu, the hornet's nest ruled by Blackbeard? Or is it Lodestar, the final signpost before the end of the world? But what if that entire debate was a grand illusion? A masterful act of misdirection, woven into the very fabric of the story. What if every one of those paths is a dead end? The Straw Hats' next destination won't be a choice, it will be a desperate reaction. For decades, a secret trail of breadcrumbs has been left for us to find, leading not to a choice, but to a single cataclysmic event. An event so apocalyptic, it will render every plan, every dream, and every log pose utterly meaningless, forcing our heroes toward the one place that holds the key to the final saga. This isn't a theory, it's an apocalypse foretold. Let's quickly recap the grand deception. Chapter 1056 presented Luffy, Law, and Kid with three distinct routes, like a prophecy offering three separate destinies. This, of course, sparked endless speculation. First, the northeast path hailed as the highway to Elbaf. This feels like destiny, doesn't it? A promise made in Little Garden an entire lifetime ago. It's Usopp's holy grail, the home of the giant warriors he idolizes. It's a narrative debt that feels like it must be paid. And with Shanks possibly there, it promises a reunion that could shake the world. Then, there is the southeast path. This isn't a route, it's a death wish. The overwhelming consensus is that this path leads directly into the heart of darkness, Hachinosu, Blackbeard's pirate island. A collision with the man who is Luffy's dark mirror, his ultimate rival for the throne, feels like an unavoidable final exam. For Luffy to choose this path would be to kick down the door to a world war. Finally, the path straight ahead. The most stable, the most direct, pointing like an arrow toward the finish line. This is the express L-Lane to Lodestar Island, the last stop before the road poneglyphs become the only map that matters. After toppling two emperors, it makes perfect sense to floor it and race for the crown. Each of these islands represents a monumental step, a dream fulfilled, a villain's reckoning, or the climax accelerated. And that is the grand deception. Because the Straw Hats are destined for none of them. You have to understand, the final saga of One Piece is not another tour of the Grand Line. The time for the Straw Hats to follow a needle from one wacky adventure to the next is a bygone era. That world is dead. The entire planet is now far too volatile for a journey. That's simple. It would be Ike trying to have a peaceful picnic in the middle of a global meteor shower. Think about the world's condition the moment they sailed from Wano. The balance of power hasn't just been broken, it has been atomized. Two emperors were dethroned, leaving Luffy and Buggy standing on their ruins alongside Shanks and Blackbeard. The Cross Guild is treating marine heads like trophies, turning the entire world order into a bloody game. Sabo, the Flame Emperor, is the face of a global tidal wave of rebellion crashing against the very foundations of the world government. Whole world is a powder keg that's already been lit. Can anyone honestly believe the story will pause for a jolly adventure in Elbaf, singing with giants, while the rest of the planet is burning to the ground in a historic inferno? Absolutely not. The era of self-contained island arcs is over. We're in the endgame now. Everything is connected, and a single event can trigger a tsunami that reshapes the entire map. The final saga demands a true inciting incident, a catastrophe so immense it forces every king, queen, and bishop onto the board at once. And that catastrophe has already happened. Its shadow just hasn't fallen on the Straw Hats, until now. The force that will dictate the Straw Hats' next move isn't a magnetic compass. It's an ancient, terrifying power that has been sleeping for 800 years, and it is finally awake. This is it. This is the moment the rules of the world were broken. We witnessed an entire kingdom, Lulusia, not just bombed, but deleted from existence. Imagine a page torn from a history book, with the book itself then burned to ash. It wasn't a buster call, this was something else entirely. Cold, silent, absolute. A single horrifying flash, and then nothing but a gaping wound in the ocean. This was the debut of a terrible new weapon, implied to be the mother flame created by Vegapunk, now wielded by the final boss of the world, Imu. What makes the Lulusia incident the linchpin of the future is that there was a survivor, Sabo. Just before the island was vaporized, he was on a call to the Revolutionary Army, confessing the ultimate taboo. He saw a figure on the empty throne. He saw the true king of the world, Imu. The world government didn't just obliterate Lulusia to crush a rebellion. They did it to assassinate the one man who saw the ghost in the machine. But Sabo lived. Now, the revolutionaries know the government wields the power of a god, able to erase any island, any person, any history with the push of a button. This is where the story's genius becomes truly terrifying. What we saw happen to Lulusia is not new. It's a sequel. 38 years ago, an island called God Valley existed. It was the stage for a legendary war between the Roger Pirates, the Marines, and the Rocks Pirates. And after that incident, the island just ceased to exist. Wiped from every map, its name erased from history by the world government. Does that sound horrifyingly familiar? Lulusia wasn't the first use of this power, it was the perfection of it. This establishes a chilling pattern. Anything that threatens the world government's absolute power isn't just defeated, it is unmade. We know the Straw Hats were diverted to Egghead. And why did the world government send an apocalyptic force, a 5 elder and an admiral, to that one island? Because Vegapunk holds the keys to reality itself. He knows about the Void Century, Devil Fruits, and the ancient energy source of this doomsday weapon. He is the father of the Mother Flame. By choosing to protect Vegapunk, the Straw Hats threw themselves directly into the eye of the hurricane. They are no longer just pirates hunting for a treasure. They are now the primary obstacle between the king of the world and his ultimate secret. So, let's connect the omens. The log pose shows 3 possible futures. But what good is a map when the ground beneath your feet can be deleted from reality by an enemy you can't even see? The very laws of physics for navigating the One Piece world have been shattered. The primary objective for the Straw Hats is no longer just get to the next island. The new objective is pure survival. It's about finding a counter to this world-ending weapon. It's about finding a way to fight a god who can literally erase you from the story. So, what if the Straw Hats' next destination isn't on the log pose at all? What if their next great voyage is a hunt for a place that is no longer on any map, a place that, for all intents and purposes, doesn't exist? What if they have to find God Valley? Think about it. It's the only logical move. This crusade for survival completely eclipses a simple adventure to Elbaf. They cannot sail towards Laugh Tale with the threat of instant vaporization hanging over their heads. They must confront this cosmic horror head-on, and the only road to a solution begins in the ghost of the past. If this is true, a voyage to find the remnants of God Valley would be the most lore-shattering and monumental arc in One Piece history. This is an island dripping with secrets, connecting the tales of Rox D, Zebek, a young Garp and Roger, the Celestial Dragon's depraved native hunting games, and even the mystery of how a baby Shanks was discovered in a treasure chest. Changes the very nature of the story. It transforms the race for the One Piece into a desperate scramble for forbidden knowledge. And just imagine, this Phantom Island would become a new finish line, drawing in every major player like a black hole. Beard, who inherited Rox's will, Shanks, who was born from its ashes, the Revolutionary Army, hunting for an answer to the weapon that almost killed their chief of staff, and the world government, desperate to keep its greatest sin buried. The story would stop being a linear race and instead become a chaotic, all-out battle royale for the world's most dangerous secret. That log pose after Wano was the most magnificent piece of misdirection imaginable. It presented a false choice, making the world debate 3 destinations, all while a hidden cataclysm was brewing that would render all of them irrelevant. The true path forward for the Straw Hats isn't found by following a needle, but by chasing a ghost. But that's my revelation. What do you think? Is the existential threat of Emu and this doomsday weapon big enough to completely rewrite Luffy's journey? Or is the siren song of Elbaf and Usopp's dream too powerful to be denied? Let me know what you think in the comments. I want to know where you believe the Straw Hats are going next, and trust me, I'm reading every single theory.